I think that Robert Gibbs and Harry Reid would benefit a great deal if they were to listen to the advice of my next guest. He is the president of the Word Doctors. We have the one and only pollster, Frank Luntz, is back with us. When you think it can't get any worse for Democrats, Frank, the gifts that keep on giving.
And yet, even though these are clearly language blunders, and both gentlemen should regret what they said, in reality, this is the least of their problems. A greater percentage of Americans think that the country is headed in the wrong direction. More Americans are believing that there's going to be a double-dip recession. The public is not getting the jobs back that they were promised. Every time we read about the deficit numbers, it gets higher and higher. The statistics are absolutely shattering. And the latest numbers that I've seen, the generic ballot between Republicans and Democrats, give the GOP a 5.6% lead. That translates to a majority. That translates to 44 seats in the upcoming election. That would give the Republicans a 5-seat majority in the House. They got to be a lot more afraid than the fact that they've got two of their leaders saying basically dumb things.
All the polls bear this out. Not only generic ballot, but then you got the intensity factor. And for conservatives, we saw this in Missouri last week. Their intensity could not be any higher than it is. And it seems like the emerging strategy of the Democrats is, number one, don't admit that they voted for the stimulus, don't run on their record, demonize Republicans, divide along racial lines, and then blame Bush. And polls now are proving the blame Bush strategy isn't working for a president that ran on change, said he could do better, has been in the office nearly 2 years, and is whining repeatedly about George Bush. It's now becoming fairly pathetic.
Well, Sean, in the focus groups that I'm doing across the country, many of them for Fox News, the level of anger and frustration is so palpable that it is almost impossible to have a civil conversation about the election. And I don't mean traditional Republicans and Democrats. What I'm watching are the independents, those who reject both political parties. They're moving towards the GOP right now by a 3-2 margin. In 1994, when the Republicans captured the House, they won 66% of self-described Perot voters. Yeah. This time, the Republicans are heading in that very same direction.
All right, but there was a poll that came out. Those that strongly approve of Nancy Pelosi, 7%. Those that strongly approve of Harry Reid, 2%. Congress overall, 11%. Independents support the president, 38%. Those numbers are declining daily. Now, you recently did a focus group, and why don't you set it up for our audience?
We were down in Phoenix earlier this month, and again, now listeners are going to get a chance to see just how angry voters are. I asked them a simple question. Is the economy getting better? Do you believe the president when he says that things have turned around? Let's listen, because they had a very clear answer to me. With the 2010 election rapidly approaching, all eyes are on the economy. The Obama administration has a lot at stake in demonstrating that the recession is over, or at least that the economy is getting better. So let's ask the people of Arizona. You all have 3 congressional races that are clearly up for grabs, and a Senate race. How many of you would believe, with the Obama administration, that the recession is over? Raise your hands. Not one of you. I can hear the crickets. You're a businessman. It's not over yet?
It's not over. We need banks to start lending. We need the federal government to be more sensitive about corporate America. And we need to take care of our debt.
It's not over yet?
I hope it gets over in my lifetime. No, it's not over yet, but the government needs to quit spending. Our tax system that we have right now is very repressive. Something like the fair tax may be a possibility, but not the way we have it now.
I'm unemployed right now. Been unemployed for 6 months, longest I've ever been unemployed. It's not getting better for me. I can't find a job.
Frank, we got new numbers to add to what they said, and very perceptive, once again, focus group on your part. But youth unemployment has never been higher. We just had this week the highest loss of jobs that we've had since February. Last month, we lost 131,000 jobs. The president's calling this, recovery summer. It just, and taking vacations that are as extravagant as any president in our lifetime. So the question is, can he overcome this in 81 days, 82 days?
I don't believe he can overcome it, but let's step aside. Let's take away the politics of it and think about the pain and suffering of these people. You've got almost 50%, almost half of all Americans come from a household where unemployment has struck them or underemployment. You now have 35% that are afraid that they could lose their jobs in the next year. People aren't spending. They're afraid to invest. They're afraid of the future. Small businesses aren't growing. Regardless of who wins and who loses, there is so much pain and suffering in this country right now. My heart goes out to them because I listen to them every day. What I wonder is, are the politicians in Washington hearing this? Does Speaker Pelosi, does Majority Leader Reid understand just how much damage was done in California and done in Nevada?
They don't have the courage to go out among the people of this country and hold town hall meetings anymore. They're avoiding it. You add to everything that you said on the economy, these numbers are not good. You add to that the Maxine Waters ethics trial, the Charlie Rangel's ethics trial, Blagojevich, add to that Sestak, which we just covered in the last segment, and you got yourself a prescription for perhaps a change in a historic election if this stays the way it is. We got 82 days to go, Frank.
It's going to be a tidal wave, Sean.
All right, Frank Luntz. And there is plenty more Hannity coming up.